In the past several months, several people have self-immolated in Tibet to protest the fact that the Dalai Lama is not in power. Or as they're calling it, protesting the fact that China is actually in power. This is a long, drawn-out, BS anti-communist story that's been around since the 1950s. The age-old claim that China stole Tibet to make its land part of China. Just absolutely ignore the fact that Tibet was always an autonomous region within China, even back as far as the emperors. Just ignore the National Geographic magazine article from 1905 that actually confirms this. And that's if you're unwilling to accept the hundreds of years of Chinese history that also confirm this. But the capitalist lies would rather have you believe that Mao was the psychotic monster that just went around invading Tibet and killing people for absolutely no reason. Because everybody knows everyone America's against is just a bunch of crazy killers that go around killing people for no reason. And we know they kill people for no reason because they're evil. And we know they're evil because they kill people for no reason. Logical continuity, bitches. Remember that the Dalai Lama is not in power in Tibet because his own Tibetan people overthrew him for the centuries of oppression he forced on them with his feudal religious order. Oh yes, the Dalai Lama has a great reputation in the West. A peace-loving man that simply abhors violence and fascism. Except for when he was running everything and there was massive slavery and everybody in Tibet, the people, were literally the legal property of the Dalai Lama. And don't forget his adamant statements that there should be a separation of church and state. While he claims to be the spiritual and political leader of Tibet, making him the ultimate personification of the unity between church and state. It was only in the last few months that the Dalai Lama stepped down and allowed an election to decide who would be the new political leader of a country that he's not in and has no power over. And in all this, never acknowledging the hypocrisy of his 60-plus year rule. He is also a champion of free expression of religion. Except for his decades-long persecution of the practicers of Dorji Shugden. I know I pronounced that wrong, I don't know how to say it. He says the religious practice that he himself practiced up until the age of 40 is evil, even though his statement contradicts basic Buddhist teachings. Not to mention, he's a goddamn lunatic that goes around claiming to be God. Yes, liberals will go around and making fun of George Bush for saying that God told him to be president, and rightfully so. But they'll applaud this guy, the Dalai Lama, who goes around claiming he is God. Just ignore the tremendous double standard. But I digress. Lately, a bunch of Tibetan cultists have been setting themselves on fire to protest the fact that the Dalai Lama is not the leader of Tibet. Frankly, I thought self-immolation was stupid during the Vietnam War as a form of protest. Stop killing people or I'm going to kill myself. Yeah, that ought to work. Now, what would any good leader do in a situation like this? Well, the Dalai Lama encouraged people to do it. He says he'll pray for everyone that does it so that they'll go to heaven. And that's really saying something because he is God and does have the power to send you directly to heaven. So basically, what we have is some psychotic feudal landlord telling people to kill themselves so that he can return to his throne and oppress them again. And these cultists are killing themselves for him. So there you go. In a time of high unemployment, economic instability, you can always find a job as a martyr. Wait, isn't that how Osama bin Laden supposedly operated? Taking desperate people and making them suicidal for their religion and his power. Yeah, that's something all right. Osama bin Lama.